Welcome back, class. We'd like to continue here with understanding the linear model. The linear model was an early attempt to explain how messages including programs, texts, images, sounds, and advertisements, were sent and received through mass communications channels. Senders include those like authors, producers, and organizations. Many scholars now see this model as outdated, assumed that mass communication was a linear process by which media producers delivered messages to large audiences. Gatekeepers are those who filter messages by deciding which messages got sent to which audiences. So here you can see you start with the message is sent by the sender, who transmit this message through a channel. It's filtered by a gatekeeper to a receiver, thus generating feedback and a response to feedback. So that is the linear model. You'll see here I have the word noise, and noise. What is noise? Noise is any number of distractions that can occur at any point during this process, known as noise. It can include psychological noise, which would be the state of the receiver. It might affect the interpretation of the message. Stress, anxiety, anger, etc. could be noise and affect that message. Social media networks have grown more crowded and users' attention spans have dropped. That could also be included as noise. Noise is defined as unwanted or disturbing energy from natural and physical or physiological or even psychological scenarios. So, the process allowed for feedback where consumers and citizens could reply by phone calls, emails, and letters. The problem with this model is that most messages do not go straight from the sender to the receiver, and senders do not know how their messages are decoded or if they are ignored. Let's move on to understanding the cultural model. Messages are interpreted, individuals assign meaning depending on gender, age, ethnicity, occupation, and education. So those are your demographics. The cultural model views the media content as part of the culture. This model recognizes that individuals assign diverse meanings to messages depending on personal characteristics, gender, age, educational level, occupation, ethnicity, or religious beliefs. Once again, those demographics. Culture consists of the ways in which people live and represent themselves at a particular historic time. Things like fashion, sports, architecture, education, religion, science, and media. The media can help us to make sense of daily life and articulate our values. When we listen to a song, read a magazine or a book, watch TV, or scan the internet, we assign meaning to each particular song, show, or website article. Interestingly, we do not all assign the same meaning to the same media content. Example, Harry Potter books. Some see them as innocent coming-of-age books, but others see them as adult literature with metaphors about good and evil. This model, audiences actively affirm, interpret, refashion, select, or reject the messages flowing through the media channels. Some examples are the internet meme. Richard Dawkins, a British evolutionary biologist, coined the term meme as a digital experience. Video, sound recording, catchphrase that is passed electronically from one consumer to another, usually very quickly, and often these are remade, remixed, etc. The cultural approach critically analyzes media content. This form also considers the power of mass media. So let's talk about culture as a skyscraper. And that's a model. Ascending levels of superiority like floors in a skyscraper. The top floors are of the high culture, good taste, higher education, and fine art. And the bottom floors would be associated with lower culture, including celebrity gossip websites, reality TV shows, and action films. Some people believe that low culture prevents people from appreciating fine art and dumbs down classic novels by making them into blockbuster movies, thus transforming classical works into simple forms. These same critics think that we are driving out the high culture with forms of the lower culture. They argue that it inhibits political discourse and social change by making people so addicted to mass-produced media that they lose their ability to see and challenge social inequalities, also called the Big Mac theory. Culture is a map metaphor. Culture is an ongoing process that accommodates diverse tastes and is not a vertical structure. Critiquing. We can also learn to critique media content ourselves in a methodical, disciplined way. There are many benefits to having a critical perspective. The critical process consists of describing, analyzing, interpreting, evaluating, and engaging with the mass media. Problems with the cultural model. Although cultural studies can help us see media from new perspectives, the conclusions laid out in a study might be the perspective of the author and may not explain cause and effect connections outside of what the author studied. Benefits of a critical perspective. It enables us to participate in a debate about media's impact on our culture and democracy. Consider this. When Ellen DeGeneres decided to publicly come out and influence the fight for LGBTQ equality, do you think this was a benefit? It can also have a negative impact. The image of a perfect male or female behavior. Case study. Check that out in our textbook. The critical process behind media literacy. So there are a couple stages here, and I'd like to go through those. Stage 1, description. Develop descriptive skills to break down a story into character types and plot structure. Camera work, music, dialogue, editing all come together to encourage audience engagement. Stage 2, analysis. Discuss the significant patterns that emerge. Make connections to popular culture. Stage 3, interpretation. What does that mean? Is there a reason or cause of a pattern? Evaluation. Make a judgment based on the first 3 stages, not your personal taste. What does this really mean? Is there a reason or cause of a pattern? Arrive at a critical evaluation. Arrive at a critical judgment that goes beyond your personal taste. Stage 5, engagement. Make your voice be heard. Challenge media institutions and make them accountable. So here is a chart with the 5 stages. Take a look at this in your own time in the PowerPoints. So description, paying close attention, taking notes, and researching the subject under study. When you're analyzing, you're discovering and focusing on significant patterns that emerge from the description stage. Interpreting, asking and answering, what does this mean? And so what? Questions about one's findings. Evaluation, arriving at a judgment about whether something is good, bad, or mediocre, which involves subordinating one's personal taste to the critical assessment resulting from the first 3 stages. And the 5th stage, taking some action that connects our critical perspective with our role as citizens to question our media institutions, adding our own voice to the process of shaping the cultural environment. And this is your first paper. There are 2 parts to this. Part 1 is keep a media log for 3 days. At least one must be a weekend day. And this log will include detailed notes on all mass media messages you're exposed to from the time you get up till the time you go to sleep. So I do need more than 4 lines here. I will expect to see many entries, probably 20 or more during each day. And if you are doing this on a day where you are sleeping the entire day or you're sick, that would probably not be the best day to analyze your media consumption. So choose another day where you are actively engaging in media. Maybe you're in your car and you're listening to the radio or Spotify or Sirius or what have you. You go to maybe a class or a job and you are there, you're speaking with your classmates, but maybe you're consuming a type of media. Maybe you're on the internet checking into something. Maybe you're watching some memes or some sort of social media before class starts. After class ends, maybe you are headed to your job, so you're back in your car, you're listening to your Spotify or your FM radio or what have you. After work, you go home, maybe you're watching TV. Tell me what you're watching. Are you watching Netflix? Are you watching some YouTube TV? Are you watching cable? Are you watching network television? Tell me these things. It does not include telephone calls or texts, but you should include your social media. And write legibly or type in this template. And so what you want to do, if you are handwriting it, make sure it's legible. You take a picture of it, upload that to Blackboard. Most people will type in this and then they will upload that to Blackboard. Part 2, don't forget, when the media log is complete, the paper that you will be writing will be describing these mass media habits. So it behooves you to do a really thorough job with your with the first part of this, and so that you can analyze your media consumption better. 3 things you learned about yourself by doing this exercise, and the 2 of these things combined will give you your grade. 20 points possible for this, and there is a rubric attached in Blackboard. So good luck on this. I look forward to reading your papers and seeing your media consumption activities. And thank you so much for joining me today.